Hi, welcome back to Follet, the video novel. We're going to read the first part of chapter 12 today. And there's just one weensy little inappropriate phrase in tiny part of one sentence in the very first paragraph that you might want to put your hands over the ears of those of tender dispositions. But other than that, it's fun for the whole family. Okay. If you're ready, let's begin. Follet and Meri didn't get out of bed until the middle of the afternoon. They weren't exactly sleeping. But eventually, Follet moved his mouth from kissing the length of Meri's neck, nibbling and mouthing her delicate skin, to her breasts, which he kissed assiduously and thoroughly, to her belly, where he licked her cute little rounded tummy and placed his mouth over her navel, puffed out his cheeks and blew as hard as he could, letting rip a ridiculous and embarrassingly flatulent blat. Meri, who had been reveling in Follet's continued attention, shrieked, laughed, and slapped him on his shoulder. "Follet! Can't take me anywhere, Meri. I think that we should get on the road again, but before we leave, I would really like some coffee and pie," Follet said. "You are a man of simple tastes, Follet. Is there any particular flavor you would favor?" "Let's see what's for breakfast," he said. "Yes, we should definitely eat breakfast before the sun goes down." "Good idea," he said. They dressed. Follet put on his jeans, slipped on a pair of boat shoes, pulled on a dark green Rory Gallagher t-shirt. I don't listen to Rory Gallagher all the time, but when I do, so do my neighbors. Meri donned a black leotard and an ankle-length cotton flamenco skirt tie-dyed in swirling yellows and reds and oranges like a sunrise on acid. She added a thin gold necklace carrying a small Turkish nazar with concentric rings of dark blue, white, light blue, and black within a golden rim. She had decided to go barefoot, but Follet reminded her that they were stopping at a restaurant first for pie, so she slipped on a pair of sandals so delicate that they were almost non-existent. They left their room and walked to the little restaurant next to Ride-In's office. They found a booth and sat across from each other, Meri playing footsie almost as soon as she sat down, finding Follet's ankle and shin with her toes. The waitress came quickly. Meri asked, "Do you have any coconut cream pie?" "I'd kill for some cream pie." The waitress laughed. "No need for violence, ma'am. We've got just the thing." Follet smiled. "Two, then, and 2 cups of coffee, leaded. Coming right up." She returned before Meri had time to rub her inquiring foot past Follet's knee and into his crotch. Follet sat up straighter as the waitress set the pie and coffee onto the table, and Meri laughed. They both set to devouring their pie, a light crust cradling a creamy custard covered in coconut and topped with toasted meringue. The bitter coffee complemented the pie's sweetness. Follet finished first and leaned back into the booth, sliding his hips slightly forward to accommodate his leaning. Meri looked into Follet's eyes, took a bite of pie, and as she chewed, slid her toes, searching for Follet's groin again. She found what she had been searching for, and as she took another bite and passionately chewed, Meri focused her attention on rubbing and stroking Follet's penis through the soft denim of his jeans. She finished the pie and had almost finished Follet when she took a sip of coffee, took her foot away, and said, "Let's ride." Follet laughed, and they both slid out of the booth. Follet walked to the counter to settle the bill while Meri headed for the caddy. "Pretty lady, mister," the waitress said to Follet as she watched Meri walk out of the restaurant. Follet noticed a glint in her eye and a smile at the edge of her mouth. "Yes, ma'am." "You two take care now." "Yes, ma'am." When Follet got into the car, Meri had slipped off her sandals and had tucked her bare feet underneath her to sit sideways in the bucket seat facing Follet. He turned and leaned to kiss her. Meri took Follet's face in her hands and held him there, lips and mouth and tongue, explaining to him how she had missed him in the moments they had been apart. Follet closed his eyes and told Meri his side of the story. When they eventually broke their kiss, Follet put the accelerator to the floor and the big old boat of a car threw up a rooster tail of gravel as it swerved out of the parking lot. Follet headed south to East Franklin, southeast to Highlands, and then east to Rosman. Then Follet turned right and headed south towards Sunset, South Carolina, as the sky turned orange and night fell. They drove on through the twilight, the sky growing darker and the last of the light fading. Follet expected to cross the South Carolina border as soon when he saw far in the distance a glowing. As Follet neared the flickering light, he saw that it was a bonfire by the side of the road with a beat-up pickup partially blocking the asphalt. Follet slowed. As they pulled up and stopped in front of the truck, a 1990s F-150, Lightning maybe, they were quickly surrounded by men in long black robes wearing camo hunting masks or knit balaclavas or bandanas tied over their noses bandit style, and there was even one wearing a white Klan hood. Follet guessed that he hadn't had time to shop. They were carrying torches, oil-soaked rags tied around the ends of sticks stout enough to serve as clubs. The bonfire raged, flames coursing to the heavens with strangely scented smoke. Follet rolled down his window. "Hi, boys." One of the camo masks lowered his head and looked into the caddy. "Just a man and a woman," he drawled. "I'm Follet, and this is my friend Meri," he told the men. "We're headed for Anderson. Maybe find a nice place to stay on Lake Hartwell. What are you fellas up to?" The head camo mask turned to the others. "Them incubuses are men. This Follet is a guy, but this lady is sure enough a lady." The clan hood said, "We better read the exorcism. Them incubuses are tricky, just in case." The head camo replied, "Okay, Luke, read the book." A back balaclava opened a red-bound Anglican prayer book and flipped pages until he came to the section he wanted. "Ain't no exorcism in here, but I found a part about deliver us. It's called the Litany." Head camo said, "That sounds about right. Read it. If this fellow don't run, he's probably not one of them." Balaclava said, "Okay, here we go. From all evil and mischief, from sin, from the devil, and from everlasting damnation, good Lord, deliver us." Balaclava said, "Come on, boys, you all have to say, 'Good Lord, deliver us,' whenever I say, 'Good Lord, deliver us.'" There was a grudging chorus of okays. "All right. Do we have to's?" Balaclava said, "You bet your ass you do, or it ain't going to work." There was another choral assent from the multitude. Balaclava continued. "From all blindness of heart, from pride, vainglory, and hypocrisy," oh hell, let's skip that part, "from envy, hatred, and malice, and all uncharitableness, good Lord, deliver us." And the choir repeated, "Good Lord, deliver us." And Balaclava continued, "From all sinful affections, and from all the deceits of the world, the flesh, and the devil, good Lord, deliver us." And with considerably less enthusiasm, the congregation replied, "Good Lord, deliver us." Balaclava read again. "Hey, here's a good part. From lightning and tempest, from earthquake, fire, and flood, from plague, pestilence, and famine, from battle and murder, and from sudden death, good Lord, deliver us." And one or two feeble voices joined in the appeal to the deity, "Good Lord, deliver us." Balaclava, sensing that he was losing his audience, read softly aloud, mostly to himself, "From all sedition, privy conspiracy, and rebellion, from all false doctrine, heresy, and schism, from hardness of heart and contempt of thy word and commandment." We don't need this part. We can probably skip that. "Good Lord, deliver us." The end. While the reading was underway, Follet looked at the exorcist wannabes. Beside their club torches, each one carried a sharpened stick. Follet waited until every one of the men had made his peace with the prayer and then asked, "If you don't mind me asking, what was that all about?" Head camo said with an exasperated sigh, "Well, you see, last Sunday at the meeting, our preacher told us about these fellows coming into town and taking our women. He told us that it had already happened out west in Nebraska and closer to home in Missouri and Illinois and Kentucky and just the other day, night, in Tennessee. He said that them incubuses couldn't abide an exorcism. It was in the good book. And that them demons just hated incenses. So he figured that we could stop any of them that came our way with a roadblock. Luke, he's an Episcopalian, borrowed a book from out of the pews at church. Red and Harry," two camo masks nodded, "broke into Harry's hippie sister's candle shop and took all the incense he and Red could carry for the bonfire. We heard they did that in Nashville. And everyone sharpened a stick to stick into the heart of any of them incubuses we find. I saw that in a vampire movie and figured it couldn't hurt." Head camo's explanation of the bonfire now made sense. Follet had seen the bonfire, but as he had driven closer, before he stopped for the roadblock, he had thought that he smelled sage and chamomile and mistletoe and St. John's wort and sandalwood, incense and smudging herbs. Head camo motioned to the clan hood, and clan hood got into the truck and backed it up, opening the road for Follet. "Hope you boys have some good hunting tonight. Stick one of them incubuses for me when you find one," Follet said. "Thanks," Head camo said with a wave of his hand. "No damn incubuses are getting past us. Be safe." As Follet drove south into the darkness, Meri prayed. "From ghoulies and ghosties and long-legged beasties and things that go bump in the night, good Lord, deliver us."